The Prime Minister of Australia is the head of government of Australia. The Prime Minister is the leader of the federal government and is also accountable to federal Parliament under the principles of responsible government. The incumbent Prime Minister is Scott Morrison, who took office in August 2018 as leader of the Liberal Party. Formally appointed by the Governor-General, the office of the Prime Minister is governed by Westminster System Convention as it is not described in the Australian Constitution. To become Prime Minister, a politician of the House of Representatives must be able to command the confidence of the chamber. As such, the Prime Minister is typically the leader of the majority party or coalition. Prime Ministers do not have a set duration or number of terms. But an individual's term generally ends when their political party loses a federal election, or they lose or relinquish the leadership of their party. Executive power is formally vested in the monarch and exercised by the Governor-General on advice from government ministers, who are nominated by the Prime Minister and form the Federal Executive Council. The most senior ministers form the Federal Cabinet, which the Prime Minister chairs. The Prime Minister also heads the National Cabinet and the National Security Committee. Administrative support is provided by the Department of the Prime Minister and Cabinet. The Prime Minister has two official residences, the Lodge in Canberra and Kirribilli House in Sydney, as well as an office at Parliament House. 30 people have served as Prime Minister, the first of whom was Edmund Barton, taking office on 1 January 1901 following Federation. The longest-serving Prime Minister was Robert Mingus, who served over 18 years, and the shortest-serving was Frank Ford, who served 1 week. There is no legislated line of succession. However, convention determines that the Governor-General shall commission the Deputy Prime Minister on a caretaker basis. The Prime Minister of Australia is appointed by the Governor-General of Australia under Section 64 of the Australian Constitution, which empowers the Governor-General, as the official representative of the Crown, to appoint government ministers of state on the advice of the Federal Executive Council, and requires them to be members of the House of Representatives or the Senate, or become members within 3 months of the appointment. The Prime Minister and Treasurer are traditionally members of the House, but the Constitution does not have such a requirement. Before being sworn in as a Minister of State, a person must first be sworn in as a member of the Federal Executive Council if they are not already a member. Membership of the Federal Executive Council entitles the member to the style of the Honourable for life. Barring exceptional circumstances, the senior members of the Executive Council constitute the Cabinet of Australia. The Prime Minister is, like other ministers, normally sworn in by the Governor-General and then presented with the commission of office. When defeated in an election, or on resigning, the Prime Minister is said to hand in the commission, and actually does so by returning it to the Governor-General. In the event of a Prime Minister dying in office, or becoming incapacitated, or for other reasons, the Governor-General can terminate the commission. Ministers hold office during the pleasure of the Governor-General. So theoretically, the Governor-General can dismiss a minister at any time by notifying them in writing of the termination of their commission. However, their power to do so except on the advice of the Prime Minister is heavily circumscribed by convention. According to convention, the Prime Minister is the leader of the majority party or largest party in a coalition of parties in the House of Representatives, which holds the confidence of the House. Some commentators argue that the Governor-General may also dismiss a Prime Minister who is unable to pass the government's supply bill through both houses of Parliament, including the Australian Senate, where the government doesn't normally command the majority, as happened in the 1975 constitutional crisis. Other commentators argue that the Governor-General acted improperly in 1975 as Whitlam still retained the confidence of the House of Representatives, and there are no generally accepted conventions to guide the use of the Governor-General's reserve powers in this circumstance. However, there is no constitutional requirement that the Prime Minister sit in the House of Representatives, or even be a member of the Federal Parliament, though by convention this is always the case. The only case where a member of the Senate was appointed Prime Minister was John Gorton, who subsequently resigned his Senate position and was elected as the member for Higgins in the House of Representatives. Despite the importance of the office of Prime Minister, the Constitution does not mention